everybody. I'm super excited to be here today. My name's Karen Hudson and I have got Vindi Hillman with me today and I'm really excited to hear her story. Welcome, Vindi.
Hello, Karen. I'm probably even more excited to be here with you. I mean, let's face it, you're a celebrity, Karen. So, hello.
Far from that, but thank you very much for your kind words. I can't wait to hear all about your Amazon journey and what you've been up to and what you're doing. So how long ago did you start your Amazon journey?
All right. So I should perhaps start by saying that my journey is a bit like Nat and Matt, in that I am the face of the company. Right. And my husband is the one who does all the work in the background, but he's camera shy. So, since I'm the wife, and of course, you know everything that goes on, don't you? Absolutely. And so I am the face of the public face of the company. And I can tell you as much as him, almost. So there you have it. All right, so when did we start? We started about 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago. And we jumped in at the deep end, and it was with private label. Right. And then we sort of, about 2 years ago, we dipped our toes into OA and also RA. Okay, what's your favorite? PL. Private label. Yeah. Yes. It's my favorite because I am less driven by money, earning lots of money, though of course that would be nice too. I like the challenge of a private label. You know, you're building a brand. Yeah. You're having to, usually you're importing, so you're having to learn all of that stuff. You're having to get into the marketing, the social media. And I just find it so interesting, you know, just that aspect of it. So yeah, RA I prefer more than OA. Right. Because you get the hunt, you know, it's a hunt. Where is it? The deal is the hunt. Get in there quickly. So yeah. So in that order, PL, RA, OA. Okay.
How much of the business is private label? How much is RA? How much is OA, percentage-wise?
I would probably say we're out of stock at the moment, but normally, under normal conditions, I would have preferred it will say 80% and 20%. At the moment, it's the other way around because we're out of stock. So it's 20% PL and the rest is RA.
Okay. Well, that's exciting, though. It's nice to do different things, isn't it?
Yes. It's a journey.
It is indeed a journey. So do you both work full-time in your business, or one of you part-time, one of you full-time?
So I work full-time elsewhere. My husband is full-time in the business. But like I said, you know, if you know he's in it, then you know you're in it as well.
Absolutely. So. Absolutely. Partnership in every sense.
Yes.
So you started your business 4 years ago. Do you use a prep center for your?
No.
Or do you do it yourself?
No. So we have 2 children. So you know.
Child labor, yeah.
Well, you try your best, you know, and so that helps. And because a lot of it was PL, it means that a lot of it is already in order. So it's a whole lot easier to send up to Amazon than, you know, when you're doing RA, it's a whole different thing. It's been a very steep learning curve for RA, which is why, you know, when we were doing PL, we didn't have to use, you know, apps like BuyBotPro or, you know, we didn't need them. But with, you know, with RA, oh, come on, you have to use BuyBotPro to just navigate, you know, to be able to scan. You have to move so quickly. So without it, we'd have been sunk. And, you know, the PPP, we got burnt so many times through not adjusting the price quickly enough. I said, darn that person. I'm sure there are people who just, it's like they're just waiting by the door. And, and they just get in there so quickly. They know when there's a price, is it midnight or something? And they get in there so quickly. And you wake up in the morning and you see all of these things sold. You say, wow. And they say, darn, they got in too quickly. So bitten once too often. So,
right. So then you got BuyBotPro, so it could help protect you from all of that.
Yeah, yes. And then we sort of dabbled in OAD. And I think it was one of those things where you have to make a decision. Do you spend hours on something like, say, some other software?
Yep.
And try and find something there, and then there are so many mismatches. You think you're onto something, and then it's not quite the same product.
Yep.
And you sort of make a decision then. Time is just too valuable, and so something like OAD, where you then get a deal sheet, and the beauty, my husband has found, the deal sheet is that, so you get something, I don't know, product A in store B.
Yeah.
And then you say, okay, you go in and you get that item. And then you think, oh, I wonder if a similar product also does well. And you whip out BuyBotPro and you check that out. And then you think, oh, but hang on, I've got something else as well. And so, it's time, isn't it? It's time savings. It's a deal. It's a deal maker. Time is money, literally.
100% it is, definitely. So what's your favourite strategy in PPP?
I'm such a wimp. And so is my husband. Blame him. Cautious, balanced.
No.
I know people speak about super aggressive.
Haven't done that.
Do you use it, Karen? Super aggressive?
I love all the strategies in PPP. It really depends what you're trying to achieve, because Profit Protector Pro is built to boost your profits. So if you use a strategy like cautious or balanced or something like that, excuse me, you're giving PPP more opportunity to boost your profits. If you're using something like super aggressive dominator, then you're giving PPP less opportunity to boost your profits. Although if you make sure you add a good profit into your minimum price, then PPP can still use that to help get you extra profits. But the more profit you want, the higher up the scale of the strategies you should go. So balanced and cautious are both great strategies for maximizing profit, and they're really, really good at that. So they'll get you sales and profit. Super aggressive dominator will get you more sales and a bit less profit. So it just depends on the balance that you want between your profit and your sales. So you can use a strategy that suits you.
All right, that's good to know, because as far as I know, the only one we've ever used it 90% of the time is balanced and cautious, which tells you something about us.
A great one. If you go into the strategies page, underneath the algorithmic strategies, you'll see little dots. And we've done sales versus profit, and we've graded each of those strategies based on how hard they work for your sales versus how hard they work for your profit. So you can go in and have a look at that, and it explains it in like quite a simple format. So go and have a look at that. It's quite interesting. But balanced and cautious are great strategies to use.
On my little to-do list here, I should have pen and paper at the ready.
Sorry, I didn't mean to give you things to do. Great you to do
this is good. This is good, because also the other thing that I'm sadly, woefully lacking knowledge in is BuyBotPro. So, it's like you mentioned there's something new that's come up. I think I've never heard of that. And then everybody raves about it, and you think, good grief, I'm missing an opportunity here. So I'm so glad that you're having a training event.
Yeah,
I will be
Yeah.
first on for that. Yes.
And we shall be doing those regularly in the BuyBotPro Facebook group. So we'll do those on a regular basis, covering different features and answering all your questions and everything else, and covering everything you need to go to make sure you get the best from BuyBotPro. Because you're right, there's so many features in BuyBotPro, and
There
there's
is.
so many people saying, "I didn't know that was there."
Yes, yes. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
And I guess that's one of the things that you discover with Amazon. It's an evolving monster, it just, and then so you have to be, quite flexible in the
Yeah,
way that you keep up. It's really it's a full-time job.
it is. It's forever changing, isn't it? It's forever changing.
Yeah, yeah, yes, very much so.
So if you could go back to yourself 4 years ago when you first started selling on Amazon, what piece of advice would you give yourself?
I've often thought about that and wondered if the best strategy for us had been to jump in literally, I was about to say feet first, but I think it was probably head first in our case, because PL is such a steep learning curve.
Yeah,
Plus, it requires quite a lot of money up front
yeah,
in order to get started. Whatever anybody else might say, you do have to have quite a lot, because it's not just about the minimum order quantities that you often have to have, and most times you're importing from China, or even if you're importing from India, Pakistan, or somewhere else, you still have the minimum order quantities, and then it's all the other stuff that you have to do. And oh my goodness me, PPC, and that's just the advertising on Amazon. It can drain you in a way that you can't imagine. If you're doing RA and OA, that won't mean anything to you. But when you have your own line, to put it in front of the customer, then you have to do advertising. You can do it on Facebook, but PPC is the other way to go, and it can drain you so quickly, so quickly. So it's all of these things that you have to be keeping an eye on. I think, but on the plus side, with PL, you have more control. It's your product. It's a steep learning curve, but it's fun if that's what you like. It's a good opportunity to quickly get feedback. So, I mean, who leaves feedback? But for your own product, chances are you're going to be in a much better place to get feedback, because you're so active on marketing and all of the things. So you can drive that up pretty quickly. And that has proved to be invaluable to us in shifting over to RA, because we already had the build up of feedback. Now, of course, I'm assuming that you have a good product and that you've got good feedback, in which case it transfers over. So to answer your question then, RA and OA would have been good to have built up a cash reserve. That's really where it comes into its own. With PL, we went in and it was quite stressful at times.
yes.
Yeah.
I can imagine. So, Vindi, with your OA business, do you go for a certain type of profit or a certain type of ROI? How do you work that out?
Right. So I initially, when we just started in now this is true for RA and OA more so than PL, which is somewhat different, because you know your figures and you know what you're going for there. For RA and OA, I was focused on ROI. That was my thing that I always used to look at and said, oh, 70, 80, yay, this looks good. And I lost sight of the margins, looking at the profit margin, because I discovered later on that really is the critical metric that you need to be looking at. ROI is all well and good. It often moves in the same direction as your margin would, but that margin is the critical one that tells you how much you are really making. ROI can be an illusion. For me, that's how it is. Profit margin is what you need to look at, I think. And for that, realistically, 20 to 25% is the sort of sweet spot. But it depends. If something's a fast seller, then you adjust and you look at the cumulative effect. So probably, more like around 15% if it's something that's fast selling.
Yeah.
I wish I could find those goods where people say they do thousands a month. Sadly, not yet.
Indeed. Okay, so let me ask you a different sort of question. If you could go to dinner with anybody in the world, dead or alive, who would it be? Someone famous.
Okay, so you must have read what I was thinking and thinking, my aunt or my. Okay, great.
Someone famous.
All right, somebody famous. Gosh, if it was someone famous, who might it be? Would it be a movie star or a singer? Oh gosh, would it be male or female?
All these questions.
I know. I'm almost tempted to say I probably would want Bob Marley.
Yeah,
I think, I think I would just, because, hey, now with Bob Marley, you'd just be jamming. He would just get out and he would just be there, and he'd just make you feel like the most special person. Well, he would just, as they say, reason with you, and you would just be there bopping along. I could do Bob. I could do Bob. Yeah,
absolutely. Can I come too? It'd be great.
Yeah, wouldn't it? Who knows what else we might be doing or smoking, but that's another story.
That's a whole different story. Okay, so let's go back to Amazon, and let's go back to talking about, if you could give one tip to somebody starting OA, what would it be?
You mean apart from BuyBotPro? That they should buy that? Okay. No, but seriously, I would say if you want to hit the ground running, then you need to be motivated. You need to have some wins under your belt. So I'd probably say invest in a deal sheet. And the reason why is because on the chats, on the various forums, people will always say, I can't find anything. I just can't find. I've gone to this store. I've spent hours. I can't find anything. And they start to doubt themselves. And often they'll leave the market before, they've even given it a chance. So I would say invest in a deal sheet. Try it for even a month. Yeah. Because then you'll get some familiarity with the sort of shops, that you can go to get deals. You'll have some insight on how you can package things. Singly, they don't work out, but maybe as a set of 4, they do. And you won't be properly clued upon this in your own right. So I would say invest in a deal sheet just to save you time. And then as you become more familiar, you might decide, hey, I've got all I can from this. And you can start, doing your own thing. But I'd say do that. And I would also say, BuyBotPro is great because it tells you how many competitors. I mean, I know I'm not supposed to be on this show promoting, anything, but this is, anybody who's used it will say the same. That you want something that just helps you on your journey, and provide some quick wins, some early wins to encourage you and move you on. So yeah, top tip then, I would say a deal sheet so you know which shops to go to, and BuyBotPro. So once you know what shops to go to, once you're there, you can whip out that little app and scan. Yeah. Get an early win. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what do you think the challenges are for OAs?
Gosh. Price tanking, and it is usually, sorry newbies, but it's usually you. You come in and you get a little bit excited, or worse yet, I suspect what happens is that you really don't know what your profit figure is, what your break-even figure is. Because like me, you're probably like me, when you look at the fee charged by Amazon, you have forgotten that there's also VAT on that fee as well. And so the money that you think you're making, you aren't really making. And so when you tank the price, you probably are going very close to making a loss. So
Yep.
don't tank the price.
Don't do it. Don't do
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm. But just look at those who have a lot of feedback and hover around that sort of price. Usually, don't go to the thousands, because they probably are getting all sorts of deals in terms of the price that they bought their product for. But anybody, I would say, the low hundreds, 500 thereabouts, sort of see what price they're going for and stay there. Don't go down.
Yep.
Newbies, don't go down. Yeah.
Very good advice. Very good advice. Talk me through your why for building this business. Obviously, you've been at it now for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Share some insights into what's your passion and what's your reason for building a business.
All right. So if I speak from my husband's perspective, his post was made redundant. And so it was a perfect opportunity for him to do something that he'd always wanted to do, which is to start a business.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the PL appealed to him more so than the OA and the RA. But the beauty about Amazon is that there are so many different models that you can do. And, you can dabble, you can try something that might not work at X point in time, but maybe, months down the line, a year down the line, then it might be something that works for you. So I think that's the reason why he decided to do it. And, as so many sites will say, Amazon is one of the few businesses that you can actually start out reasonably comfortable or confident rather that you won't lose your shirt. Most times if you make a loss, it won't be a big loss, and it will be compensated by the gain. So you'll break even, or I guess the thing is that people will go in with unrealistic expectations. Now, when I say unrealistic expectations, of course, I know some people just go in and they just hit the ground running. Alas, I am not one of them. I've got a lot of experience about different models, but I am, and steady income. I think it's steady as she goes.
Yep.
But I think to make the huge sales that people make, and of course, I make an assumption that they're also making profit as well, which might be quite an assumption. But there you go. But if we were to assume that they make even 10% as profit, of the huge sales that they're doing, you have to ask yourself, are you going to do that sort of work? Because it's demanding. It is demand. There's no two twos about it. It really is demanding.
Yeah, there's no get rich quick buttons there. There's no buttons just say like take me to the top.
No.
A button.
No, you have to put in quite a lot of time. So hopefully it's something that you enjoy, that you enjoy the whole, Amazon buzz, the community, you're talking to people, as one might have, I'm not shy in terms of, I'm talking to someone who gets me on Amazon, it's so exciting, but
Absolutely. So a little bit more about you. So if you could have any superpower in the world, what would it be? What would you choose?
It would have to be the gift of healing. The gift of healing, that would be, some people allegedly have healing hands, that they're able to reflexology, I think, might be a little bit like that, you know, where some people have that ability. You can take this as far as you want to take it, but you know, if yes, I think I would like to have healing hands, not, you know, to be able to cure people of all, but just to be able to allay, I think, some ailments. That would be good. Healing hands.
Yeah. And if you had a billboard in the sky and the whole world could read your message, what would it say?
This is going to sound so cheesy, but it would be something that, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go for this one. It would be something like, make love, not war.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, life is just so short, you know, and the year that we've been in lockdown has just gone down, you know, it has whizzed by. I think that probably we have emerged, I'd like to think, somewhat different for the experience, in all sorts of ways. I think many of us are thinking more about quality of life and, you know, what's important to us. And yeah, and I think, you know, don't sweat the small stuff, except if it's Amazon business, of course. Then you have to pay attention. Look at the small stuff.
Absolutely, look at the small stuff. So what Amazon stuff keeps you up at night? What makes you worry about your business?
You know what I'm going to say, Karen. It's going to be the fear of suspension. You know, it's going to be that, isn't it? I think most other things you can manage, but it's just you know, that happens when you so yeah, I think that's a concern, and that is another reason why PL for me is less risky, because I think you have less chance of being suspended, you know, for the usual sorts of things, you know, with PL, assuming that you don't do stupid things like pay for reviews, or, you know, which is another no.
Absolutely.
So yeah, but I think PL, you know, you just do a straight business. I think yeah, it's I'd be less concerned doing it there than with OA or RA, where someone can accuse you of you know, counterfeit products, inauthentic products, and that sort of thing. Yeah. Or you have to produce, you know, invoices for something that you probably have just got off the shelf. So yeah, suspensions. Oh.
You're worried. You're worried.
Yes, but
no, go on.
I was just going to ask you. So, but is it a legitimate worry? I mean, okay, so you get suspended. I know you are the suspension resolution queen. So, of those that come before you, what percentage would you say you are able to bat away without too much time investment?
Okay, so I would say definitely in the 90%. So most people, but having said that, if there's people like come to us and they've done things that we think will mean they won't get their Amazon account back, then we won't take their money and won't do their appeals with them. So if you include those people, then obviously that percentage would be a lot lower. Because we turn them away, because I don't want to take anyone's money if I don't think we can help them. It's morally not the right thing to do, not what we want to do, not what we're about. So we only work with the people who we genuinely think we can help. Otherwise, we go back to them and say, look, you know, we're not convinced that you're going to get your Amazon account back. And whilst we don't mind working with you, we need to make you aware of this before you spend like a huge amount of money trying to take professional advice getting your account back. Because, you know, if someone's sold stolen goods and they know they've sold stolen goods, then they don't deserve to have their Amazon account back, because it makes everybody else, it causes every other Amazon seller, it causes them issues.
Yeah.
So the ones that we help and we take on are well into the 90%. Well into the 90%.
And what are the typical sorts of reasons why they have their accounts suspended?
We have suspensions a lot to do with authenticity. Now, when you've got an authenticity suspension, it's not about the product, it's about the supplier. So they want to check where you're getting your goods from. So there's quite a lot of that. There's quite a few IP things. And there's quite a few verifications, because people tend to start their Amazon business up, not just dipping their toe in a little bit. No, you were super brave and just went for it on day one, but not everyone does that. A lot of people will dip their toe in a little bit and just see if they like it. And then before they realise they've built a business, but they've still got a individual account on Amazon or something like that.
I see.
They've not changed their legal entity to a company, so that then Amazon catch up with them and then they'll suspend them. So they're probably the most likely to happen. And there's so many reasons for suspensions. There's so many, but
that's not comforting. That's not comforting at all, Carol. So many reasons.
There are a lot of reasons, but they're the most common. And there's things you can do to help yourself keep your account safe. Like you said, keep your invoices, make sure you've always got proper documentation of where you've bought your stuff. Don't sell stuff that you've sourced from some random on eBay, assuming that it's legit, because you've got no idea if it is, and that won't be an invoice that Amazon will accept. Treat it in the professional manner that it is. It's a business. Treat it in the professional manner it is, and the chances are you'll be okay.
Well, that's comforting. I'm sitting up a bit straighter now, with that in mind. Yes.
I mean, Amazon sometimes are really tough, and sometimes tough in a way that we don't quite understand why they're being quite that tough. But those cases are few and far between. We see a lot of people get suspended just because they don't know the process of dealing with suspensions, and that's why we started to get unsuspended in the first place, because that's wrong. Lose your account because what you've done is unforgivable, fine, but don't lose your account just because you don't understand the process. That's tough. So so that's how it all came about in the first place. Anyway,
it's interesting. I want something that's interesting, and I mean, I know a lot, especially my son. He's all into the trading and the cryptocurrency and that sort of thing. And I said, well, okay, but I guess cryptocurrency might be somewhat more exciting is the word, than trading, currency trading. It's not a brand that you're building. You're not building up something. It's it's money. It's just moving money, which is okay. But I just wanted something that was more layered. It had more layers to it than being, look, you're making money. So.
Well, you definitely achieved that in lots of areas of Amazon. So
yes.
Definitely achieved that. So if you were interviewing you rather than me interviewing you, what question about your Amazon business have I forgotten to ask you?
I guess it might be, if not Amazon, what might you have done?
Okay. You've done.
And my answer to that would be, I'm not quite sure, because the thing about Amazon, it's almost like a ready-made, it's almost like something, the foundation is already there, the customers are already there, and all you have to do now is to get it in front of them, so it's something you can jump right into. And in fact, I think the beauty about Amazon is that you can get onto it and then you can use it as a springboard to get involved in other things, as you have done. Sort of got in, and now you're into services, you're into this, you're into that. Exactly. So I think that's what I like. So for the intrepid, the not so sure, cautious, it probably is a good way to start.
Fantastic point. You come in with an open mind, and who knows where it might take you. You know, within a few months of starting Amazon, I'd met Matt, and you know, and we were in business together, and everything changed in my life. And you know, he's a phenomenally amazing business partner, and I would never have met him had I not started on Amazon. So, you know, things happen, don't they?
And so I guess I have to ask, how did you meet Matt?
Basically, I stalked him on the internet.
A good investment.
Because he had a YouTube channel, and he was just starting the Secret Wealth Project. And I think I was number 33 or something in the Secret Wealth Project, and it's like 30,000 now.
Yes.
Yeah. And I met Matt, and well, I saw Matt doing his channel when he building his group and such like, and he had a skill set that I knew I didn't have, coming from a corporate world. And someone asked him whether he was going to open a prep center, and he said no, because he didn't have the right business partner. And I sat there and I thought, well, I can do that. I can run a prep center. So I messaged him, like, he's just like, who's this random woman? So I messaged him and said, you know, I need to come and talk to you about this prep center, and I need to come and talk to you about business and stuff. So we met up for a day, and then things went from there. So yeah, he's an amazing business partner. Amazing.
Yes. I mean, Matt strikes me as somebody who's very generous. Not everyone is generous with their insight, with their knowledge. So, and you also strike me as somebody who is who will soak it up. And you know, and the thing is, with business partners, that can be a very tricky relationship. It has to be with someone who you think is giving. You know, both of us are bringing things to the table and giving the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know from having been part of OAD and BuyBotPro and all three, the Holy Trinity, all three, that customer care, customer attention to the customer is something that you, Matt, Holly, and Bex, is it Bex? Have I got that right? Or Beck? That's what yeah. Yeah, that you all do very well. If I have a query and I send it in to let me see, it's probably been, let me think, OAD and possibly BuyBotPro, something or the other. And is it Emmanuel who works with you as well? Emmanuel and Anna? So shout out to you too. Great job you're doing. You know, good. Customer care. It's everything, especially in this online world that we live in, you know, where you don't, you know, customer care gets you customers.
Thank you so much for your kind words. I'm sure the team will love that. They'll love to hear that.
Honest words.
Thank you. Vindi, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. You've been so interesting to talk to. It's been amazing to listen and understand and hear all about your story. Thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you. I've got a chance to talk to you. I mean, come on now. Come on. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you for reaching out. It's been a delight. It's just so good to talk to someone who understands Amazon. I mean, my family get tired of Amazon, like-minded. So thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.